The Boston Celtics outlast the Toronto Raptors in game 2 and take a 2-0 series lead, 102-99. I'm Sierra Goodwill with the whole gang here tonight. Jimmy Toscano, Josue, Pavon, and Bobby Manning. All you really need to know is that in the fourth quarter, Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker combined for more points than the Toronto Raptors did as a team. It was really the Smart show when he hit those 5 threes in a row. It was absolutely wild and the most Marcus Smart thing ever. And then Kemba finally got rolling in crunch time, which is just, he knows how to win. Even though he barely has ever played in the playoffs in his NBA career, he hasn't lost how to win when it matters the most.
Listen, even when he was in Charlotte. No, you go, Bob.
It kills you when your team lets you down. And my team, the team I picked going into this series, just keeps doing it. The Toronto Raptors. What is going on with them? Anything they do, they run into a brick wall. They get the transition game ramping up here. Works for a little bit, doesn't get going in the closing, especially on the last play. I know you guys didn't like the lack of a timeout. They were killing it there all game long, and then they run into a Jason Tatum wall on that play. Fred VanVleet, another bad night from 3. They got Gasol the ball in the lane a little bit more. That didn't work. And the bench that we love, that everyone was going crazy about, 100 points. They basically have one guy off the bench scoring at this point in Serge Ibaka. I don't know where they go from here. The half-court offense looks horrific for them. And all the turnovers, all the fouls late in this game, they completely collapsed in the fourth quarter.
Wait a minute,
That's
Bobby.
right.
Give your team some credit here, though. I mean, one guy scored 16 points in 6 minutes, and they still had a chance to win this game. I mean, Nick Nurse, yeah, like you said at the top, he didn't do himself any favors by not calling a timeout when he had Fred VanVleet chucking a Hail Mary with like 7 seconds, which is like an eternity in basketball. I just think the direction has been a little bit off. You can't game plan for 5 3-pointers in a row for Marcus Smart. So I do think that the Raptors, of course, had their hands full when that happened. But also credit to Kemba Walker for helping this team, close things out. But at the end of the day, I still don't think this thing's going to be a sweep or that the Celtics are going to win this in 5. I don't know, man. Something about this series still makes me think that if it doesn't go to distance, maybe 6. I don't know. I think the series is still a long way from over.
I don't know what they can do, Jimmy.
Mute this guy. Mute these two guys. I can't believe it. Jose, did you say give credit to the Raptors? Give credit to the Raptors.
No credit to the Raptors.
Give them credit.
They hung in there. Most teams would have been down by 20 after someone goes wild for 16 straight points.
Most teams would have been up by 20 if they were playing a crappy Celtics team the way the Celtics played for 3.5 quarters. Instead, they were only up 8 points. And listen, they allowed Marcus Smart to get hot. You don't want to let him get hot because that's what Marcus Smart does. He can go from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds. Sierra said it. That was the most Marcus Smart thing ever. And credit Kemba Walker, too, because as bad as Kemba Walker was for 3.5 quarters, that fourth quarter shot he took was probably the biggest shot of the game when he drove down the lane, stepped back to freedom, Drano, and that put the Celtics ahead. They were ahead, but that sort of gave them that breathing room that they needed. So I'm not going to give the Raptors any credit. And Nick Nurse, I know we're going to talk about him later, but him crying. All I'm going to remember about Nick Nurse is him sitting like this on the bench being like, oh, dear God, I wasn't ready for this Celtics team.
Well, all the Celtics players, Brad Stevens, in the post-game press conferences that I listened in on, pretty much were just praising the ground Marcus Smart walks on, saying there is only one Marcus Smart, and you want him on your team. On Twitter, Enes Kanter, Taco, Vincent Poirier.
Oh, really?
Just praising Marcus Smart. Everyone loves the fact that he's on their team. And I think a big underrated part of this series and postseason run for the Celtics is a Marcus Smart-like guy because he self-motivates. He motivates the team from within when you have nothing else around you doing that in the bubble without the adoring fans. But how do they put out the Raptors, right? I don't see them coming back from a 3-0 series lead if the Celtics are able to command that on Thursday. What do they need to do to kind of put their foot on their throats here?
I'd say continue to take advantage of the weak spots they're giving them on the defense. Game 1, they take the corners, 10 for 15 3-point shooting. Game 2, they take advantage of the space they're giving Marcus Smart out on the perimeter. And he definitely had a little more space, especially in rotation, when Grant Williams is drawing a guy in the corner rather than him on the wing. they just took advantage of everything they could find in this game. Kemba Walker's struggling. Smart goes off to follow that up. Tatum picks all his spots, is aggressive, gets in the lane when everyone else is struggling. They take advantage. Toronto doesn't take advantage of everything. We're going to do a whole video about them complaining about calls. I thought they got the better whistle in this one. They overturned the out of bounds play on Smart. They overturned the foul in transition on Smart. They got a good whistle in this one. They had a good lead going into the fourth quarter, a strong game through 3 quarters, and they just blew it. They didn't take advantage.
No, I mean, yeah, and that's why I won't give them credit, because I think that the Raptors gave it everything they had, and the Celtics played like below average basketball. So like, that's what I said. Even if the Celtics had lost game 2, and they tried to, the Celtics tried to lose this game at the very end there, under 2 minutes left, turnovers, fouls, the tech on Jason Tatum. The Celtics lose this game. I'm still saying, listen, yeah, they lost, but the Celtics played like crap and had a chance to win this game. They're clearly, in my opinion, the better team now. I've seen 2 games, Celtics Raptors in the playoffs, and both times I've said the Celtics are clearly the better team here. They have more talent in the starting lineup. It doesn't matter to me, how much size or how much depth the Raptors might have. They're not showing it. Serge Ibaka has been their best player through 2 games, and that's a guy that if he's your best player, you're not winning a series. No offense to Serge Ibaka, he's just not at that point in his career anymore. He's been the biggest thorn in the Celtics side because none of their other players, Lowry hasn't looked like himself, Van Fleet hasn't looked like himself, Siakam hasn't looked like. None of these guys are the guys that got them to the number 2 seed in the East. So to me, it's done. This is my series clinching helmet or hard hat. It's on. It's over.
Oh, man, Jimmy. See, that's the thing. Those 3 guys you just mentioned from the Raptors, that's not going to continue to happen. I don't think all 3 of those guys, some sort of combination, is going to continue to come up short. One of those guys is going to go off. My pick is Siakam, 26, 27. Maybe the 3 of those guys can combine for at least 65 points, something to that stretch. And I think that's going to go a long way, obviously, for this team. But also, Jason Tatum, don't let what happened discourage you, okay? Keep going to the rim. If you have to earn another tech, I don't care, but just keep it together, because you finally put together a heck of a performance in the playoffs, but you got it done at the free throw line. That rarely happens for Jason Tatum. 14 for 14 from the free throw line. Obviously, the kid can make them. He can obviously get there. I just want to see a little more consistency.
Yeah, he could have definitely gotten away with driving to the hoop a lot more than he actually did in this game. But for all of our Celtics postseason coverage, you can find it on our website at clnsmedia.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.
The Garden Report is brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MAXWELL20 at manscaped.com. Take your grooming game to the next level.